Hello everybody, this is going to be one of those videos where I'm going to film a little bit every now and again over months or even the year, so I don't know when when I'll actually publish this video, but the date today is the 14th of March 2020. I'm just doing a little bit of work to this Fusion Willow, and what I want to do is try and bring in some of these pieces now that I can see where I've got buds that have burst. I'm going to use some grafting tape, and I'm going to try that is to hold it all in place using grafting tape. Now, this stuff is supposedly completely biodegradable. You can just leave it in place for as long as you need to. So that's what I plan to do. And it simply is a question of unravelling this stuff, and it's almost like sellotape, and it's supposed to cling to itself like cling film. What I'm finding is it's not as strong as cling film, nor as strong as sellotape, and it doesn't particularly cling either. But maybe if I can get enough on, persuade these pieces to stay. It is actually sticking now, so we are getting somewhere with it. Just like sellotape, if you lose the end, it's really hard to find again. This could actually work. Obviously it's an experiment, and time will tell. Okay, so whether that works or not, we will find out. It's supposed to hold two branches together long enough to graft together, so you know, should have some chance. Okay, so that's the tree all wrapped in the grafting tape, and now what I'm going to do is where these branches that are sticking out have started to break bud, I'm going to cut back to the first bud. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit on that. Okay, so I have first bud is just here. Just here. There. And so on. And I've just run round the tree doing that. That'll shorten these growths off and ensure that any backbudding will occur closer in. And that'll help keep the trunk nice and healthy, growing away, build some fusion without the tree getting too leggy. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to build a trunk. I'm worried about branches later. Okay, it's the 20th of April 2020, and here's a quick look at the fusion willow, large willow. Trunk is almost as fat as my hand, and as you can see, it's growing really well. Lots of buds. I'm going to just let this tree grow as much as it wants this year, in the hope to finally get some real solid fusion, and it'll be a really hefty trunk when it's finally fused. So I'm not going to give you a 360 because it's such a heavy tree. I'll wait until I've got something a bit more interesting to show you than just lots of new 3-inch shoots. But yeah, doing well, really pleased with its progress. Okay, time for a quick catch up with the large fusion willow. As you can see, it's growing really well, and hopefully that'll aid the fusion. It's the 4th of June today, and the job I want to do at the moment is to select a leader, if I can, from the top here, and chop back a couple of the growths so that the leader can take over and become the highest part of the tree. So not going to be easy because I haven't got any growths in just the right place that I would have preferred, unfortunately. This piece is coming out at the front, so I'm not really going anywhere. The trunk, realistically, I think it's going to have to be this piece, following the trunk line, which is hard to see because it's obscured, but realistically it needs to be coming back in this direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten these other pieces back, basically anything that's taller than this shoot, and that will become the apex, and should in theory grow nice and strong and thick. The rest will bush out and continue the fusion process. So we'll just quickly do that. Basically rough cutting almost everything else back, and just leaving that one. I can probably get all these pieces to root quite easily, just by sticking them in a jam jar of water. So you never know, there may be more fusion projects down the line. One more at the back there. Okay, so that's cut back all the growing points on everything that is going to compete with this, which will be the new leader, and we'll just let that one continue to shoot skyward, fattening up as it goes. Okay, so it's the 14th of September, and hiding behind this sunflowers here is the big old willow fusion tree that I've been trying to create. It's just been left to its own devices, and has grown, well, a lot. It's probably, the growths on it are probably 4 foot tall, and it's probably almost as wide as that now. These growths here are stretched right out, and what I want to do is get in there to the middle somehow, and I had chosen a leader, and so I need to find that leader now, and I want to wire it up right, because it's the branch that I had chosen as a leader, which is this one, is coming out to the front of the tree far too much. So what I want to do is just put a piece of wire on that. Most of this growth will need to be cut back next spring, but we have got a lot of fusion this year in here. Apologies for the helicopter noise, but yes, there is a lot of fusion. Most of this section of the trunk is completely fused. Not so much down below, but my kind of engineering knowledge is minimal. I'm not a trained engineer, but I do know that this can't come apart now that it's fused. So that means it can only be a matter of time that the fusion will have to increase down the trunk to the point where everything is fused together. I'm thinking, from the way it's fusing at the moment, we may be only looking at a couple of years, and then full fusion will occur. The tree's lost a few leaves. It didn't like that particularly hot spell we had earlier in the year, but okay, so just gaining access into the centre of the tree is quite difficult with all this growth on it, but they'll all be removed come spring, and until we just have the trunk again, similar to what I did this year, and then the tree will be allowed to just grow on again. This I want to keep as my leader, or at least this first short section, which I just want to bring upwards and maybe put a little bit of movement in, something like that. So let's just anchor this piece of wire at the base. Willow being Willow, this is white willow. It's inherently flexible at this sort of size, so it's fairly easy to put a bend into. As I say, I only want the first couple of leaf nodes, not the whole thing, so I'm not putting too much wire on there. That leaf is in the way. Which leaf is it? That leaf. Sorry about that, people. So I've just literally bent the tree leader up, and just to this direction a little bit. The base of the trunk is right down in here, so yeah, right down in here. So that gives us a trunk line that's essentially like so. So that's about it for now. I'm just going to let this tree continue growing for the rest of the season, putting on lots of growth, fattening up this trunk, which is causing it to fuse, and eventually I'll have a tree that's a good 4 or 5 inches across at the base. Fingers crossed. Okay, so it's the 20th of October now. And I think this will be the last look we do with this Willow fusion project for this year. It's pretty much going into full autumn mode, shutting down. The leaves are turning yellow and well, beginning to drop as well. Quite a number will need to be cleaned out from in here. But the tree has grown really well. I'm really quite pleased with the amount of fusion. The leader itself, well, it's gone for the sky. It's a good base to apex is a good 8 foot. So yeah, it's done really well. I think another couple of years possibly we'll get a good solid fusion on this trunk. That's what I'm hoping. And in order to get a trunk this size with this sort of taper, would be quite difficult to do any other way in the time. Thank you everybody for watching. Please do take care of yourselves. Stay safe.